A dim office hallway before sunrise. The world is still asleep, but one man is already at work. His arms tremble as he lifts a heavy trash bag, his breath uneven, the muscles in his forearms twitching like they are fighting an invisible battle. His name is Marcus Johnson. Marcus is not just tired. His arms are broken, not freshly broken, but permanently damaged, shattered years ago in an accident that stole his career, his strength, and almost his will to go on. Yet here he is, smiling faintly, whispering to himself as if to gather courage. One more step, Marcus, just one more step. What nobody knows, not his co-workers, not his bosses, not even the strangers who walk past him without a glance, is that every lift, every wipe, every sweep feels like fire coursing through his veins. But he endures, because he has a reason, and that reason is a little girl named Alicia, his daughter, his everything. Marcus works in one of the city's most powerful corporations, a place where glass windows stretch into the sky, where boardrooms sparkle with polished wood, and where men in suits talk about millions like it's pocket change. In this world, Marcus is invisible. He enters before dawn, when the office still echoes with silence, and leaves only after the last executive has driven home in their luxury car. To most, he's just the janitor, someone who fades into the background. High above those same halls, in a corner office with a skyline view, sits Daniel Harper, the CEO, a man known for being sharp, calculated, and untouchable. People whisper his name with either respect or fear, but Daniel is carrying a secret. He's restless, haunted by the feeling that he no longer understands the company he built. Numbers, profits, and graphs, they don't show the soul of the business, so he makes a radical decision to go undercover, to live not as the boss, but as the lowest paid worker. And that decision is what brings him face to face with Marcus. A chilly Monday morning, Daniel, disguised as a new trainee cleaner, steps into the dim office corridors. Gone is the tailored suit. Instead, he wears plain overalls, carrying a cheap mop that feels foreign in his hands. Waiting for him is Marcus. Marcus greets him with a smile, the kind of smile that feels genuine, even though it hides pain. "You must be the new guy," Marcus says softly, his voice warm, encouraging. "Don't worry, you'll get used to it. I'll show you the ropes." Daniel watches closely. He notices the way Marcus moves, slow, strained. Every motion looks like it costs him something. And yet, there's no complaint, only patience, only kindness. It confuses Daniel. Why would a man suffering so much still find space in his heart to make a stranger feel welcome? The hours pass, and Daniel learns what cleaning really means. Trash bags that smell of stale coffee, floors that must gleam even though hundreds trample them every day. Windows that must shine like diamonds, no matter the weather outside. For Marcus, every task is harder. His arms quiver as he lifts, his wrists give way at odd angles, and yet he whispers, "I've got it. Don't worry about me." Daniel tries to help, but Marcus laughs it off. "You're new here. Save your strength. I've been doing this a long time." Behind those words, though, is truth. Daniel can almost feel Marcus is carrying something heavier than the trash. He's carrying a life of unspoken battles. Later that day, as they sit in the break room, Marcus quietly pulls out his lunch. It's not much, just a small sandwich wrapped in foil, but before taking a bite, he offers half to Daniel. Daniel hesitates. He doesn't need it. He's a millionaire, hiding in plain sight, but he accepts, because there's something sacred in that gesture. As the day ends, Daniel lies in bed, thinking about Marcus, the way his hands shook, the way his voice never faltered, the way he smiled despite everything. Daniel realizes something unsettling. He, the CEO, feels more human after one day with Marcus than he has in years running a billion-dollar company. And before we move deeper into Marcus's world, let me pause here. I worked so hard to bring you this story, so if you feel connected already, please consider subscribing. It really means the world to me, because trust me, what comes next will break your heart wide open. The second day begins long before the sun rises. Marcus arrives at the office, his figure silhouetted against the streetlights. His jacket is worn, his shoes scuffed, but his steps are steady. Behind him, Daniel struggles to keep up. "Morning," Marcus says cheerfully, even though his eyes look tired. Daniel replies with a yawn. He's not used to being awake at this hour, not used to bending down to scrub the stains left behind by careless employees. As they work side by side, Daniel notices something. Marcus often pauses, rubbing his arms like he's trying to massage away the pain. But whenever Daniel asks, Marcus simply chuckles. "Don't worry about these old things, they still work most of the time." And then, he keeps going. Throughout the day, Daniel sees how the rest of the office treats Marcus. Some pass him without a glance, others toss their trash carelessly, expecting him to pick it up. A few mutter thank yous, but most act as though Marcus isn't there at all. Daniel watches silently. It stirs something inside him, anger, maybe, or guilt. He had built this company, but never once had he thought about the man who cleaned its floors. When he sees Marcus gently picking up crumpled papers from under a desk where an employee had just walked away, Daniel feels a knot in his chest. How many times has this man been ignored? How many times have I ignored men like him? In the break room, Marcus unwraps his small lunch again, half a sandwich and an apple. Daniel notices it's less than the day before. You always eat this little? Daniel asks. Marcus shrugs. It's enough for me. My daughter's the one who needs the real meals. Growing kids, you know. Daniel frowns. So you skip meals for her? Marcus smiles, his eyes soft. A father's job is to make sure his child never goes hungry, even if he does. That single sentence hits Daniel harder than any boardroom negotiation ever has. Later, as they polish windows together, Daniel gently asks, "What did you do before this job?" Marcus pauses, his rag resting against the glass. His eyes drift somewhere far away. I used to build things. Construction, tall buildings, bridges, homes. My arms, he lifts them slowly, his hands trembling. They were strong once, strong enough to lift steel beams, strong enough to catch a man falling. A shadow passes over his face. But then, the scaffolding gave way. The weight came down. I thought my life was over. The doctors saved my arms, but they'll never be the same. Heavy lifting, gone. The work I loved, gone. He exhales deeply, then forces a smile. But I still had my daughter, and that was reason enough to keep going. Daniel says nothing. He doesn't trust his own voice. That evening, Marcus invites Daniel to walk with him after work. They pass through quieter streets until they reach a small apartment building. Inside, the place is modest, cracked walls, mismatched furniture, but spotless. On the wall are drawings, bright and colorful, taped proudly as though they belong in a gallery. Alicia made those, Marcus says, his chest swelling with pride. She wants to be a lawyer one day, says she'll fight for people who can't fight for themselves. Just then, a young girl runs in, about 12 years old, with bright eyes that shine like hope itself. "Daddy," she says, hugging him tightly, careful of his arms. Marcus introduces her. "This is my world." Daniel feels a lump in his throat. Alicia greets him warmly, offering him tea like a proper host. Her kindness mirrors her father's, and Daniel wonders, how can someone who has so little, raise someone who gives so much? Later that night, Daniel notices Marcus wincing as he tries to pour tea. His hands shake violently, almost spilling it. Alicia quickly jumps up, saying, "I've got it, Daddy." Marcus laughs it off, but Daniel sees the truth. The pain is constant, relentless, and yet, Marcus never lets it show at work. As Daniel leaves that evening, he feels a weight pressing on him. He had come undercover to understand his company better, but what he's discovering is something much deeper, a man whose quiet sacrifice humbles him more than any business lesson ever. The following week, Daniel insists on carrying the heavier bags, but Marcus shakes his head. "You'll hurt yourself if you keep trying to take over." "I'll be fine," Daniel replies. Marcus sets the bag down and looks at him firmly. "Listen, son, pride isn't about doing everything alone. It's about knowing your limits and still showing up every day. My arms may be broken, but I'm still here. That's enough." Daniel studies him, realizing that Marcus isn't just surviving, he's teaching. Without knowing it, Marcus is mentoring him, showing him a kind of strength that doesn't come from muscles or titles but from love. At the end of another long day, Marcus offers Daniel the last piece of bread from his lunchbox. "Take it," he says. "You worked hard today." Daniel hesitates again, but this time his refusal isn't because he doesn't need it, it's because he feels unworthy of such generosity. A millionaire accepting bread from a man who can barely feed himself. But Marcus insists, so Daniel eats, silently promising himself something he can't yet say aloud: "I will not let this man's kindness go unnoticed." One night, after Marcus heads home, Daniel lingers in the office. He watches employees walk out, some complaining about long hours, others laughing about weekend plans, and then he thinks of Marcus, of the broken arms, of the skipped meals, of the little girl who dreams of becoming a lawyer, and in that moment, Daniel realizes, the company he leads has overlooked men like Marcus for too long. The seed of change has been planted, but for Marcus, the struggles are far from over. It's late one evening when Daniel notices Marcus struggling more than usual. His hands can barely grip the mop, his face tight with pain. Still, Marcus forces a smile, joking about the stubborn stains on the floor. But then it happens. Marcus bends to lift a trash bag, and his arms give out. The bag slips, spilling its contents across the polished floor. For the first time, Daniel sees Marcus's mask break. Marcus leans against the wall, breathing heavily, his eyes wet with frustration. Daniel rushes to help, but Marcus waves him off. Don't pity me, please. It's not weakness Daniel sees in him, it's a man clinging to dignity with every ounce of his spirit. Later, in the empty break room, Marcus finally opens up. His voice is quiet, almost ashamed. You want to know the truth? He asks. These arms, he lifts them slowly, his hands trembling as though holding invisible weights. They're not what they used to be. I live with pain every single day, but I don't complain, because these arms may be broken, but they're still strong enough to carry my daughter's dreams. The words hang in the air like a prayer. Daniel feels his chest tighten, his eyes sting. For Marcus, this isn't just survival, it's sacrifice. It's love so deep it refuses to quit. Marcus pulls out a worn photograph from his pocket. It's of Alicia, holding a certificate from school. Her smile is wide, filled with hope. She wants to be a lawyer, Marcus says proudly. Can you believe that? A lawyer. She says she'll fight for people like me someday, and I'll do whatever it takes to make sure she gets there, even if I break myself in the process. Daniel studies the photo. He thinks about all the scholarships, all the resources his company offers to executives' children, yet none of that ever reaches someone like Marcus. For the first time, Daniel feels ashamed of the empire he's built. Daniel begins quietly investigating. He looks at Marcus's work schedule. It's brutal. Double shifts, weekend hours, rarely a day off. He notices pay slips left in the janitor's locker. The amount is barely enough to cover rent, let alone school fees. Then, Daniel sees something that shatters him. Marcus's medical bills, unpaid, stacked in a folder, hidden behind cleaning supplies. The truth is undeniable. Marcus isn't just working hard, he's drowning, and yet he still carries himself with dignity, never asking for help. That night, Daniel lies awake. His mind races. He came undercover to understand his company better, but now, it's no longer about business. He faces a choice. He can remain silent, staying in disguise until the program ends, or he can reveal who he really is, and risk shattering Marcus's trust. One path means safety, the other means responsibility. Daniel clenches his fists. For the first time, he doesn't want to be the CEO in a suit. He wants to be a man who does what's right. The next day, Daniel finds Marcus sitting quietly in the janitor's closet, massaging his arms. Marcus, Daniel says softly, don't you ever get tired? Don't you ever feel like giving up? Marcus chuckles, though his eyes are heavy. Of course I do. But giving up isn't an option. My daughter, she believes in me. And if she believes in me, then I have to keep believing too. Daniel swallows hard. In that moment, he knows. He can't keep hiding. This man deserves more than empty sympathy. He deserves real change. Before we go deeper, let me ask you this. If you were in Daniel's shoes, what would you do? Would you stay undercover and keep learning quietly, or would you reveal yourself and take action right away? Do you think the choice he made was the right one? Be honest with me in the comments. Daniel doesn't reveal himself yet, not immediately. Instead, he makes a silent promise. When the time comes, he will step forward, but not just as the CEO, as someone who will stand beside Marcus, not above him. It's late on a Friday night. The office is empty, save for Marcus and Daniel. Marcus is pushing himself harder than usual, determined to finish before the weekend. He lifts another heavy bag, his arms trembling violently. Suddenly, his knees buckle. The bag slips. Marcus falls to the floor, clutching his arms in agony. His breathing quickens, his face pale with pain. Daniel rushes to his side. Marcus, stop. You're hurting yourself. But Marcus shakes his head, struggling to rise. I can't stop. If I stop, everything falls apart. Daniel grabs his shoulders firmly. Enough. You can't keep doing this to yourself. For the first time, Marcus's eyes fill with tears. He whispers, brokenly, I have to. For her. Daniel feels his own heart break. He can't stay silent anymore. Marcus, there's something you need to know about me. Marcus looks at him, confused. Daniel hesitates, then removes the cap he always wore as part of his disguise. He straightens his posture, his voice steady. My name isn't David, like I told you. My name is Daniel Harper. I'm the CEO of this company. The silence is deafening. Marcus stares at him, stunned. For a moment, he thinks it's a cruel joke. You're the boss. Daniel nods slowly. Yes, And I came here undercover because I needed to see what life was like for the people who hold this company together. Marcus staggers back, his face clouded with disbelief, maybe even betrayal. So all this time, you were testing me? Watching me? Daniel shakes his head quickly. No, I wasn't testing you. I was learning from you. And Marcus, you've taught me more about strength and dignity than I've ever learned in my years as a CEO. But Marcus's voice hardens. Do you know what it feels like? To work until your bones ache, while men in suits sit in offices above, never noticing you? And now, you expect me to believe you care. Daniel doesn't flinch. He takes a step closer. I don't expect you to believe me, but I promise you, I see you now. I see everything you've carried, and I can't ignore it any longer. Marcus sinks into a chair, his hands trembling. I didn't need anyone's pity. I just wanted to work with dignity, to give my daughter a chance at a life better than mine. That's all I ever wanted. Daniel kneels in front of him, his voice breaking. And that's exactly what you'll have. Marcus, you've carried this company more than anyone knows, and it's time someone carried you. Daniel lays out his plan right there, raw and unfiltered. Tomorrow, I'll make arrangements. You won't clean another floor in this building again. You'll have a new role, one where your experience, your wisdom, and your spirit will guide others. A role that pays you what you deserve. And Marcus, your medical bills, they'll be taken care of. Your daughter's education, consider it done. She will have the scholarship she needs to chase her dream. Marcus's eyes widen, his lips parting as if to speak, but no words come out. His entire body shakes, not from pain this time, but from the crushing weight of relief and disbelief. For the first time in years, Marcus allows himself to cry openly. He covers his face with his hands, sobbing quietly. You don't understand. I was so close to giving up. So close. Daniel places a hand on his shoulder. No, Marcus, I do understand. And that's why this ends today. You've carried enough alone. The two men sit there in silence, their worlds, once so far apart, finally colliding. Word spreads quickly through the company. Employees who once overlooked Marcus now hear his story. They whisper in the hallways, astonished by the revelation. The CEO went undercover, and the janitor he worked beside was the heart of it all. And as the story spreads, something shifts. Executives start looking at their cleaners differently. Workers nod respectfully when Marcus passes by. For the first time, he is not invisible. He is seen. When Marcus tells Alicia the news, she bursts into tears, hugging him tightly. Daddy, we made it. We're going to make it. Marcus strokes her hair, whispering, no, baby, you are going to make it. These arms were always meant to carry you this far. Daniel watches from the doorway, his own eyes misty. For once, being a CEO doesn't feel like a title, it feels like a responsibility he's finally living up to. Now, let me ask you something from the heart. If you were in Marcus's shoes, and someone finally offered to lift the burden you've carried for years, would you accept it? Or would pride make you walk away? If you were in Daniel's shoes, would you have confronted the truth this way, or stayed silent and walked away? Tell me in the comments. Your answer matters. The climax closes on a powerful image. Marcus standing in the lobby of the company, not in janitor's overalls, but in a suit Daniel provided. His arms still tremble, but his head is held high. For the first time, employees nod respectfully as he passes. He's not just the cleaner anymore. He's the man who showed the CEO what strength really looks like. And yet, Marcus knows the true victory isn't his promotion, or his recognition. It's the fact that his daughter's future is now secured. That's the legacy he wanted. That's the dream his broken arms carried all along. A few weeks later, the company feels different. Marcus no longer walks the halls with a mop in hand. Instead, he wears a neatly pressed suit. His new role isn't about cleaning floors, but about mentoring and supporting other staff, making sure that no one in the company is ever invisible again. When new employees join, Marcus is the first to greet them, shaking their hands gently, his voice filled with warmth. You matter here, he tells them. Don't ever think otherwise. The same man who once scrubbed quietly in the shadows now stands as a beacon of dignity. One morning, Marcus receives an envelope. Inside is the official confirmation. Alicia has been granted a full scholarship, funded directly by the company's new Harper Foundation for Employee Families. Tears stream down his face as he reads the words aloud to her. Full tuition, books, living expenses. Alicia throws her arms around him, laughing and crying at once. Daddy, I can do it now. I can really become a lawyer. Marcus kisses her forehead, whispering, you were always going to make it. Now the world will see what I've seen all along. Meanwhile, Daniel Harper stands at his office window, looking down at the busy city below. But he doesn't see profits, or contracts, or skyscrapers. He sees Marcus, he sees Alicia, and he realizes something that shakes him more than any boardroom deal ever could. Strength isn't in power, it isn't in titles, it isn't in wealth, it's in love, in sacrifice, in the broken arms of a man who refused to let go of his daughter's dreams. Daniel whispers to himself, "He changed me." News of the undercover CEO spreads beyond a building. Articles are written, employees talk, and other companies take notice. A movement begins, one that reminds leaders everywhere that the people at the bottom are often the ones holding the entire structure up. And at the center of it all is Marcus Johnson, the cleaner with broken arms who carried dreams stronger than steel. Years later, Alicia, now grown, stands in a courtroom. She's dressed in a sharp suit, her voice steady as she delivers a powerful argument. The judge listens intently, the jury nods in agreement. She is everything her father dreamed she would be. And in the gallery, Marcus sits proudly, his arms still trembling but his heart steady as ever. His eyes glisten with tears as he whispers to himself, "These arms were broken, yes, but they were never weak." Marcus's story reminds us that true strength isn't measured by what our bodies can do, but by what our hearts are willing to carry. And sometimes, the quietest people, the ones we overlook, are carrying the heaviest loads of all. So the next time you see someone working in the shadows, remember Marcus. Remember that behind every smile might be a story of sacrifice, resilience, and love. Thank you for watching until the very end. It took a lot of heart to write this for you. If Marcus's story moved you even a little, please subscribe, like, and share this video. That way, I can keep bringing you more stories that remind us of the strength, courage, and love that often go unseen. Because sometimes, the people we overlook the most are the ones who change us forever.